I'm sure you guys heard about Trump flip-flopping on FISA. And if you guys aren't aware of what FISA is, well, I mean, it is something that goes back to the Nixon administration, I believe, but there's like a carve out in the FISA warrant laws that allows the federal government to spy on people in foreign countries. But there's like a loophole in this law to where if people from foreign countries that are being spied on without a warrant, if they're talking to an American, they can collect that data and spy on the American as long as they're talking to someone from a foreign country. Well, does that give them extra ways to use this loophole to spy on Americans that just happen to talk to somebody from a foreign country? And they just say, oh, well, talking to someone from a foreign country, we can wiretap his phone. Like that's the worry about this loophole in the FISA laws, spying on Americans without a warrant. Well, I mean, this is back in 2024, in April of 2024, Trump says, kill FISA. It was illegally used against me and many others. They spied on my campaign. Donald J. Trump. That's from 2 years ago, April 10th, 2024. So, I mean, this is literally what Trump, like, he literally said, kill FISA. So this is his post here from True Social, April 10th, 2024. Kill FISA. It was illegally used against me and many others. They spied on my campaign, Donald J. Trump. Okay. So what changed? Because he doesn't have that same tune anymore. So this is a statement from Donald J. Trump. So this is from April 5th, almost exactly 2 years later from his original statement where he said kill FISA. This is from April 15th, 2026. So 2 years and 5 days later, he says, I am working very hard with our guest speaker, Mike Johnson, with our great speaker, Mike Johnson, along with Chairman Jim Jordan and Chairman Rick Crawford to get a clean extension of FISA 702 through the House of Representatives this week. I am asking Republicans to unify and vote together on the test vote to bring a clean bill to the floor. We need to stick together when this bill comes before the House Rules Committee today to keep it clean. When the dirty cop James Comey, the failed head of the FBI, went after me, he was using FISA Title I, the domestic collection, not FISA 702, the foreign collection. The FISA 702 still has the loophole to spy on Americans, which needs to be extended today. Why? Why do you need that to be extended? While parts of FISA were illegally and unfortunately used against me in the Democrats' disgraceful witch hunt and attack in the Russia hoax, and perhaps would be used against me in the future, I am willing to risk the giving up of my rights and privileges as a citizen for the great military of our country. I am willing to risk the giving up of my rights and privileges as a citizen for our great military. What did you just say? He just says it right there that he's willing to give up our rights to privacy for the federal government to not spy on us, but for safety. That's what he's saying. This is freaking bonkers. Our military patriots desperately need FISA 702, and it is one of the reasons we have such tremendous success on the battlefield. I have spoken with many in our military who say FISA is necessary in order to protect our troops overseas, as well as our people here at home, from the threat of foreign terror attacks. It's in the name of terrorism, you guys. This is so George Bushy, it's insane. It has already prevented many such attacks, and it is very important that it remain in full force and effect. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Donald J. Trump. Incredible. Okay, so here I use Brave's browser, and we'll see what it says. So I just asked, what is FISA? FISA stands for the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act of 1978, a federal law that establishes procedures for the surveillance and collection of foreign intelligence within the United States. It was enacted in response to government surveillance abuses during the Nixon era and requires a federal agency to obtain authorization from a Foreign Intelligence Service Court, FISC, to conduct electronic surveillance, physical standards, or collect business records related to foreign intelligence. Section 702, so that's what Trump wants extended, of FISA, added in 2008, allows government to target non-U.S. persons located outside the U.S. for foreign intelligence without individual warrants using electronic communications. While U.S. persons cannot be directly targeted, their communications may be incidentally collected if they are in contact with targeted individuals. This provision has sparked bipartisan privacy concerns due to warrantless backdoor searches of Americans' data by agencies like the FBI. FISA was signed into law by President Jimmy Carter on October 25th of 1978. It created the FISC, a secret court that reviews surveillance requests. Section 702 is currently set to expire on April 20th, 2026, prompting debate over reauthorization. Recent audits show the FBI conducted over 200,000 warrantless searches of U.S. person data under Section 702. 200,000 warrantless searches of U.S. person data. So right there. Congress passed a 10-year temporary extension in April of 2026 amid internal disagreements over the reforms. So again, the 702 portion of it allows them to wiretap foreign entities, but if they're in communications with Americans, they can store that data. That's like a lot of leeway for the federal government right there to just say, oh, this guy was talking to, Sam over there in Bangladesh. So now does that mean they can tap that person's phone? They can I want to know exactly what this gives them authorization to do. But I mean, yeah, I'm not down with this. I'm not down with this at all. So here's Trump's statement here. So this is from Eric Doherty. Let's just play this clip really quick. This is Trump actually talking about it.
In future elections, like in the upcoming.
We'll talk about it, pros and cons. Look, they used it to try and put me in prison, right? So I can't be thrilled with it. They use that very strongly, very illegally. The Democrats are thugs. And I don't want to say that. It would be nice to everyone get along, but it's a different country than it was years ago. It was very dangerous the way they used it. And they weaponized government. They used that to weaponize government. So I'm not thrilled, but I'll also go along with two groups of people, the military, and I think the military likes it, right? And I'll go along with the senators. I'm fine. But I was a big victim of it. Yeah, please.
Are you going to send your
In future elections, like in the upcoming.
We'll talk about it.
Oh, was that quiet? Let me see if I can, let me turn that up a little bit. So I think that is this one here, Danger. Will you let me know if this is louder now?
Pros and cons. Look, they used it to try and put me in prison, right? So I can't be thrilled with it. They use that very strongly, very illegally. The Democrats are thugs. And I don't want to say that. It would be nice to everyone get along, but it's a different country than it was years ago. It was very dangerous the way they used it. And they weaponized government. They used that to weaponize government. So I'm not thrilled, but I'll also go along with two groups of people, the military, and I think the military likes it, right? And I'll go along with the senators. I'm fine. But I was a big victim of it. Yeah, please.
are you going to send your
In future elections, like in the upcoming.
We'll talk about it.
So yeah, warrantless spying on Americans. I'm not down with it. I'm not down with it at all, you guys. I don't care if they're using the excuse of, oh, it's going to help stop the terrorists. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that bullshit. Northside over on Rumble. Nice to see you. He says we need to give up our rights for Israel, coach. It says it so in the Torah. I mean, all right. This is a clip from, this is from Drop Site News, and I know a lot of you guys don't like Drop Site News. I do, but they're Soros funded. Well, let's pay attention to what they're actually talking about. It's not like Soros funded DAs that are letting criminals out early for no reason. All right, so from Drop Site News, Rep. Gregory Meeks, a Democrat of New York, one of the Democrats leading the charge to whip Democrats' votes on the clean reauthorization of FISA. So it's a bipartisan effort. So when Republicans and Democrats agree on something, that it's probably not good for American citizens. in particular, so this guy's agreeing with Stephen Miller, the guy that Democrats hate, justified his position by claiming he has to do his job to prevent terrorist attacks that could be prevented by an extension of Section 702. When pressed by Drop Site's Julian Andrione on the fact that Section 702 was renewed last month through March of 2027 and the backdoor search loophole was used to spy on Black Lives Matter protesters in 2020, Meeks reiterated his talking points that he had just been debunked, saying, ultimately, I'm going to have to make a decision when it's on the floor. There is already information that I've been able to receive that have saved us or our allies. Section 702 has prevented terrorist attacks. A vote is possible on the House floor as early as this afternoon. So let's listen to what Meeks has to say here.
So I just want to ask you what the specific rush is to get a vote on FISA, given that 702 was renewed last month through 2027.
I think that it expires next week or something of that nature.
It was independently renewed in March.
That's what, is coming in. I don't think Russia's, you got to talk to the Republicans. They put this back up. They can't agree on it. Apparently, they don't have a rule, so we'll see what happens.
Are you comfortable with the fact that the backdoor search loophole, for example, was used to spy on Black Lives Matter protesters in 2020?
I think everybody agrees that we don't like the Trump administration and trust many of what they do. But, I have a job also, which I'm looking at in terms of making sure that there's not a terrorist attack. And so I have certain opportunities to sit in classified meetings and look at certain things along with Mr. Himes on the Intel Committee. And so it comes down to decisions oftentimes of national security also. And so I have to weigh both of those in making this determination. Clearly, I don't trust, I don't like, I wish, the best way, if we were in charge, we wouldn't have these instances like we did with the Biden administration, who was able to make certain changes and put certain security in there.
Will you explain how
we need to do that?
Will you explain how it would facilitate a terrorist attack to eliminate the backdoor search loophole?
There are certain things that I can't talk about because I get it through classified information.
There's certain things that I can't talk about because I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm just trying to push this agenda to give the government more power to spy on Americans.
And so,
is it constitutional for them to be able to access those communications without a warrant?
I don't think it is constitutional.
Then there should be an amendment.
So, yeah, I agree. I said we need to work on it, but I have this administration. We're trying. I know that Mr. Himes and
So did he just say, I know it's unconstitutional, but we need to do it anyway because this is our opportunity with this administration that I dislike so much? Is that what he just said?
And is working along with the Judiciary Committee. We've got some thoughts of what should be in there. We're trying to put them in there. If in fact they can't get the votes on their own on the rule, then maybe that we can get some further things in the bill that will secure us in both ways.
But given that 702 was renewed, as reported by the New York Times last week, that it was renewed last month until March 2027.
All I know is if there's a vote on the floor, I have to vote. I've got to vote
for the clean reauthorization with Stephen Miller.
I have to vote based upon the knowledge that I get in this, as in my role as a member of Congress and my role as the part of the.
I hate politicians so much.
See if he's going to come back out here.
All I know is I have to vote. If they put something on the floor, I have to vote, even if it's spying on Americans.
You were saying that you have to vote for the clean reauthorization.
I've got a choice. If there's a vote on the floor,
yeah,
I cannot vote. So I got decisions to make on what or how I vote. And I've got to make that decision based upon a number of different facts and issues. And I'm not going to get, don't have, and oftentimes you don't, a perfect bill. I know what I would like in the bill. I know what I think further protections need to be there. And I will push, and we've been advocating to get that done. Ultimately, I'm gonna have to make a decision when it's on the floor.
So vote against it.
I'm
Given that
gonna
the
make
freedom,
that decision based upon whether or not I know, for example, that there's been some information that we've been able to receive that have saved us from us or our allies, because I also talk to our allies in this, which is really important.
Oh, so who are you really trying to protect and who are you really trying to spy on? What American dissenting opinions are you really trying to collect here?
Also, because we share some of the information with our allies around the world. And it has prevented terrorist attacks.
702, you mean?
Yes.
Well, that's been renewed already through March 2027.
So
I wonder if there's any foreign governments that are lobbying politicians in our government to vote on this FISA 702 extension because they actually want Americans spied on so they can have access to that information. If there are foreign governments lobbying our politicians to extend FISA 702 for warrantless spying on Americans, I wonder what foreign governments those would be.
have to make those determinations in that regard.
And then with House Freedom Caucus members are on the side of not voting for a clean reauthorization. So do you have leverage?
Hey, good to see you, sir.
Okay, so let's go to Ben Swan and see how he breaks down this FISA 702 extension. If you don't know who Ben Swan is, he's the gentleman that had his career ruined for working for a mainstream media outlet and deciding to talk about Pizzagate and the actual evidence there was to support that conspiracy theory. So this is Ben Swan. I like Ben Swan a lot. Let's see what he has to say about FISA 702.
President Trump, the man who screamed for years that the government illegally spied on him and his campaign, and they did, now wants to expand the government's power to spy on you. Remember this? Kill FISA. They spied on my campaign. That was the president's position in 2024. So long ago, right? And he was right, by the way. The whole Russiagate collusion effort was largely pinned on warrantless spying on the president and his campaign. Kill it, burn it down, unconstitutional. That's what the candidate Trump was saying. But today, President Trump is actually saying the opposite. Now posting on Truth Social to extend warrantless spying by intel agencies. Protect it, pass it fast. He's now demanding Republicans unify or go blind. So, what is FISA 702? Well, it is a surveillance program that allows intelligence agencies to collect communications targeting foreigners. But here's the thing, in doing so, they constantly vacuum up Americans' emails and calls and messages, and then they search through that data without a warrant. No warrant, no probable cause, just access. It is completely unconstitutional, and Trump promised to end it. But now we know he's not going to.
So why'd he flip-flop? Who's in his ear? Who talked him out of this? And why?
Same Donald Trump, who claimed that he was targeted and he was abused by federal agencies, attacked by the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, is now pushing this. The very kind of sweeping surveillance power that Trump once claimed was used against him, he now says is vital. Not every Republican is on board, though. Congressman Thomas Massie put it bluntly, saying this, quote, I will be voting no on final passage of the FISA 702 reauthorization bill if it does not include a warrant provision and other reforms to protect U.S. citizens' right to privacy.
That's completely fair, isn't it? But Thomas Massie will get confused of, oh, you're voting with the Democrats again. What's funny is in this case, Democrats are on board with this too. Once again, Massie is the only one standing up for the promises that Trump made in his campaign, the things he campaigned on. Thomas Massie is the one that's living up to those standards far more than Donald Trump is.
End quote. You know, Massie even tried to fix this bill. He offered 3 amendments to add safeguards, but they were not even allowed to a vote.
Of course not.
So why is this happening? Why right now? Washington will tell you the same lies they've been shoveling for the past 25 years. National security and global threats, strength abroad, stop the terrorists, right? It's not about that. It was never about that. FISA 702 is about one thing. And by the way, it was loved by Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and Joe Biden and apparently now Donald Trump. And it's really about giving unchecked power to intel agencies to target and to go after anyone they choose and to not let anything, especially the Constitution, get in the way.
There it is. I mean, FISA 702 is clearly just a way to give the surveillance apparatus access to Americans' communications. That's all this is. Why does Trump want it extended all of a sudden? Who's in his ear? What's this all about? Why did he flip-flop on this? Like, that's what's extra suspicious. Why did he flip-flop on this? Just, it makes no sense. I don't know, guys. It's just another concerning thing that that Trump is doing. So FISA 702, there it is.